What's up, Shawnee United MMA. We're going to continue talking about belt progressions in Jiu-jitsu. Last week we talked about the colors themselves, a little bit about the confederation, and a little bit about what typically happens at white belt. So now we're going to see maybe what happens in your Jiu-jitsu progress in some of the other belts. Not really going to talk as much about promotion requirements or anything like that yet, but I will cover that later. That's kind of a topic all its own. So right now I just want to focus on kind of what ends up happening as you progress through each belt. So we're going to talk about blue belt first. Blue belt, minimum requirement for time that you stay in blue belt. There's no minimum to get to blue belt. What the Confederation says, once you get to blue belt, you need to be in blue belt 2 years before you can move to purple. Typically, I was a blue belt over 5 years. I'm kind of slow, stuck in my ways, didn't want to open my guard. It was my fault. And I was training 2 or 3 days a week, and I'm kind of slow. Some guys progress quicker than that, but minimum 2 years. If you do the math, think about it. Some guys are lucky enough to train all the time. Young guys maybe still live at home, or maybe they're prodigies and they get to live at Lloyd Irvin's or whatever and train all the time. If you calculate the mat time, if I'm training once a week, it may take me 6 years, 7 years to get to purple, where somebody else could do it in 2 because they're training so much. So the number of years really depends on how often you get on the mat during that 2 years, or 4 or 5 or whatever it may be. So blue belt is the longest belt. It's like 1.5 years minimum to go from blue to purple, and it's 1 year from brown to black. So blue is really where things happen. Blue is where you're really going to get your toolbox for jiu-jitsu, so to speak. You're going to be discovering a lot of new techniques. White belt, you're just kind of trying to survive. You're taking it in, you're moving your hips, you're making progress. You are learning techniques, submissions, and you're learning sweeps, and you're learning guard passes. I understand that. But the main objective is to be solid with your escapes. You're going to learn some takedowns. But blue belt is such a long belt. A lot of things are going to happen. You're going to fill your toolbox. You're going to get the things. You're going to go to class, and the instructor's going to show you things, and it's like, hopefully you're going to drill them all, but some things just kind of stick. Some things are natural for you, and you're probably going to gravitate towards putting those things in your game immediately, so your game may be considerably different than someone else. Because blue belt is such a long belt, the skill level for blue belts, there's a huge variation. If you get somebody that just got their blue belt today compared to somebody that's going to get their purple belt tomorrow, we could have this guy here about to get his purple probably trained 3 times longer than the guy that just got his blue. So if you go to a tournament, man, it's tough. You just get your blue belt and you go out there and you're going to have to fight a guy that maybe trained 5 or 6 years and you've got maybe 2. So big variation, a lot of gathering of techniques and things like that. You're going to start eliminating the blatantly stupid mistakes. Hopefully you're not going to put one arm in and one arm out and get triangled on a regular basis. You're going to start not putting your hand up in the collar from the guard. Those things are going to be gone. When you get to blue belt, you should have a pretty good idea of the simple what to do, what not to do, and you're building your repertoire up. You're going to start stringing techniques together. When you're a white belt and you're learning these techniques, what we call static techniques, you're going to be, learning the mechanics of the move and how it works. You get to blue belts, you're going to start being able to apply it a little better on resisting opponents, and you're going to start understanding that, I've got this guy in this submission, let's say I have him in an arm lock, and I can't quite finish it. Well, instead of just letting go and starting over from my guard, well, since I'm already here, I can switch to a triangle. Maybe I can switch to omoplata or something else. You're going to start realizing that this position has set me up for another technique. Then you're going to start stringing things together, which is really important. So a lot of foundation in the blue belt. And once you start getting sharper and sharper and you're smashing the white belts and you're smashing the blue belts, guess what? You're probably getting close to the purple belt. And like I say, minimum on purple belt from blue to purple, purple to brown, you need to stay at purple belt minimum 1.5 years. If you train 3 days a week, I'm going to say you can pretty much double the minimums, and that's pretty much what's reality. So we're going to say probably about 3 years. I think I was probably about 3 or 4 years. Like I say, I was slow. But it takes a little while. The thing that's cool about purple belt, I've been doing this a pretty good while now, and I've seen some good white belts, really good white belts. I've seen some blue belts that were phenomenal, just great blue belts. And I've seen some blue belts that weren't too good, that really kind of were missing some things that were pretty basic, that really hopefully will get addressed pretty quick as the blue belts that maybe shouldn't have holes that maybe shouldn't have been there. Huge variation in skill level. When you get to purple, so far, I've never seen a bad purple belt. I've never seen somebody at purple belt on the mat and I thought, that guy's really not that good at jiu-jitsu. Purple belt is a big deal. That is the belt to get. People say it's the hardest belt because you stay at blue belt so long and it takes so long and you have to be dedicated. Once you get to purple belt, you probably have, on average, I'm going to say 5 or 6 years now, to get to purple. Maybe 5, depending on who you are, but a long time. And you've shown a lot of commitment and a lot of skill at that point. You're going to have the basics down. A lot of the Brazilians say once you get to purple, you pretty much, it's like having a black belt in other arts. It's kind of a big deal. Patrick's really hard on giving out purple belts. He doesn't, no freebies there. It's pretty serious. Like I said, I've never seen anybody that I thought, they're really not up to par. Purple belt is a big deal. When you get there, you can make it to black. That's what they say as well. When you get this far, you have enough skill and dedication to go ahead and finish out. If you get there to purple, man, stick it out because black's coming. Brown and black, there's no reason that you can't finish. The guard game, it's what you see a lot. Blue belt, man, you're learning passes. You're just filling your toolbox. You're learning lots of things from every position. You're just taking it all in. Purple belt, and there's no hard, fast rules. I'm just telling you what I'm typically seeing is purple belt, you spend a lot of time on your back. So when you start really working on your guard game, you're going to see guys doing a lot of spider, a lot of butterfly, a lot of sweeps at purple belt. Obviously, you're going to learn submissions, you're going to be doing guard passing, you're going to be doing everything. But it seems to me that most people spend a lot of time on the bottom at purple belt. And then we're going to move to brown belt. According to some of the Brazilians that I've read, things, they say that brown is just kind of an intermediate step between purple and black. They just kind of felt like, well, we kind of need something in between there for the purple belts that are killing the other purple belts and hanging with the black belts. So we're gonna let them be brown belts. So that's kind of where that ended up. And to go from purple to brown, you need to be a purple belt a year and a half, which doubles 3 years to get to brown. Brown belts, now we're going to be more guard passing than anything. Usually I see that. I did. It's like, you go back and forth. It never ends. You're going to work on something and it just keeps circling back to where you started. But a lot of guard passing at brown belt, trying to learn how to be heavy. At purple, you're trying to learn how to stay underneath people and sweep. If I can get underneath you and teeter you, I can sweep you. Well, brown belt is like, I can lay my hips forward, I can lay my chest forward, start learning to use my weight. Not necessarily strength, but just weight, being heavy where I need to be to pass, all about guard passing usually. And you're obviously all the things that you've already learned that you've put in your toolbox at blue belt, you're refining at purple belt, you're refining at brown belt, you're refining at black belt, and you're getting tighter and tighter, and these positions are getting better and better and better. And there's things like sensitivity and timing, and those things are important. Sensitivity would be me recognizing what's happening without really having to see it. I can kind of feel where this is going. Reacting to things instinctively without having to really see it. I can tell he's moving his hips over here, here's what's happening. This is how I need to defend or react to that. Timing is huge. You can do the same exact technique, the same exact way, and if your timing is not right, it won't work. If your timing is right, it'll work. So, you get to purple belt and you really have all those tools. You really have a solid foundation. You really have everything you need. You're just refining it up to black belt. So, brown belts, you're going to be a little heavier. You're going to have a little better timing. You're going to be a little more sensitive. And the same thing to get to black. I'm not going to talk about black belt today. That's another subject in itself. I got a lot of thoughts and feelings about black belt that I'd like to share with you, especially since I just got mine. was thinking and what I still think about that. But takedowns, submission escapes, those things are going to get progressively better. All the techniques, obviously, the farther you go, the tighter everything's going to get, the easier it's going to be. And I'll talk a little bit more about the progression, the other things that get refined when we talk about black belt. And then in another video, I'd like to talk about what it takes to be promoted. What does your instructor hopefully, what does he want to see? Why did so-and-so get promoted and this guy not get promoted? Or did I do something wrong, or did I do something right? Or why? It's a lot of questions about that. What exactly is your instructor looking for? Do we test or not test, and why? And I want to talk a lot about that stuff later. I think it's very important. Hopefully it'll clear some things up. And we'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.